kick it off with sex with alligator shots. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers and queers.
And steers?
I guess.
And beers.
And while we are in Texas,
only two things come
Keep going around rhyming words until someone fucks it up.
Peers, mears.
beers.
You just fucked it up, Paul.
I'm out.
You already said beer.
Cheers.
Phil just said beer.
Cheers.
Tears.
We're done here.
Beers.
Fears.
Terrible bit to start the show with. Anyway, shit. Let's rock it out. Welcome back, guys, to the Last Call podcast. I'm Philip Rocco. Here with me today, I got Samantha Sullivan,
Jimmy
Jimmy
Salazar.
Nick Stone, and Paul Adami.
Paul Adami, maximum effort.
We got drinks. We got shots. Is that your catchphrase now?
I think I'm gonna steal that from Deadpool.
You're gonna stick with that one for a while?
I think I'm gonna try for.
Oh,
yeah.
all right.
At least you guys didn't see my loot crate box.
Oh, yeah,
I
man,
need to
so
share
nice.
that on the last call page.
Shout out
I
to
still haven't
Loot
put
Crate.
anything out. Yeah.
Maybe we can get them as a sponsor.
One of these days, please,
Listen,
God.
listen.
Hey, we already picked up Kimberly Freeman.
Hey yo, yes.
Oh, yes,
That was
Kimberly
badass.
Freeman,
That
lead singer
was
of
great.
One Eyed
Yeah,
Dolls.
Super excited about
Great
Good
catch,
on that, Nick. Getting in
Yeah.
our first celebrity.
That was
Good
cool. Sam
job.
has no idea what we're talking about. Someone fill her in.
Okay.
Miss Kimberly Freeman of One Eye Doll. So
She was.
she liked the page
Oh, okay.
after I shared one of her things on our page. So
And
It all
Mario
works
was
out.
saying,
Just
like,
to
I
discuss
missed
music.
A special guest or something.
Yeah, you did. It was ridiculous.
Well, you know what?
Tupac came back.
maybe one day
Yeah,
when she's in
hologram
town,
Biggie.
Yeah.
we'll do an all music episode with her.
So
I'm
Nick
down.
Brought up
I'm down.
a fantastic topic that was probably going to take up the bulk of the show. with
Good,
the
because I didn't really bring a topic.
favorite comedians.
Lazy.
We're getting
But
really lazy with that.
Before we get into that, I got two very short stories that I just want to share with the group real quick. I wrote them down in my notebook.
Okay.
are they
so I don't
erotic
forget them.
friend fiction?
No, first, I had a thought earlier and it made me sad. If you're listening to this and you don't know who we are, I'm the GM of this bar, and I was doing some stuff earlier, and I had to go check the mail, and I got the keys for the mailbox out of the safe, right? And I tossed them, like, from one hand to the other hand, and I missed, and the keys shot behind my desk. Have you guys ever thrown something to yourself and missed? Because it's pretty fucking depressing.
Yeah.
It just kind of makes you feel bad for a second.
I don't
Reflect
even
on
want
your life.
to. I don't even want to comment because I'm scared I'm gonna jinx myself in some way. I mean, I
it
already
makes
hit my shoulder, man. I do not need to be missing tosses to
It
myself.
almost makes you want to reprioritize your life for a second. You just go into the void for a few seconds.
It's
and
like,
you're just
I need to be a little
"What
more athletic right
happened?"
now.
Like, I'm so uncoordinated that I threw something that was literally less than a foot away from my other hand, and I missed it. And it just ruined
And
my
then,
day for a second.
and then I know where that desk is. That must
Yeah.
have been a pain in the ass to get those keys out from under that desk.
So,
It wasn't fun.
so wait, did you just sit in there with the lights off, listening to like Blink 182 and shit
I threw on
for the next
Some
hour
Adam
after?
song,
Just
some
in
Adam song
depression?
going on.
Made me sad. It
Maybe
made me
some
very
simple
sad.
plan. Just walk in. Hey Phil, we need some help.
But then, guys,
okay.
we come back.
Glorious
we
return.
come back up because when I checked the mail, the best thing happened ever.
You got the
and
new Maxim
sometimes
issue?
We get some dumb junk mail, and it usually all just gets thrown away. But I'm so glad I actually looked at this before I threw it away, because we have now, officially, if there was a contest, these people won. Worst name for a business of all fucking time.
Okay.
Of
Go.
all time.
Go.
They sent me a postcard or something, some advertisement.
He is pulling it out.
But the
Oh,
name
shit.
of this company is Hiscox. Hiscox. It's an insurance company. It's real.
That's what I
Googled
want to
it,
ensure.
and it's called Hiscox. And I was just like, okay, we're surrounded by dicks at this bar.
I'm not usually
People don't really
surrounded
know
by
that.
dicks,
I
so
will.
hold on.
I will post a picture when I can to the page, but
Speak for yourself on that one.
No.
Oh,
The neon
God.
dicks.
Yeah.
The neon
Oh,
dicks.
so
not
basically-
the men.
okay.
So
I was
basically,
thinking
the
like,
idea here is that there is a bunch of neon
and this
lights
is-
and the windows here, and they're supposed to be pool pockets, but they all just look like variable length penises with the head cut off.
What happened? What happened, Nick?
No, just as a printer, I'm noticing a defect in it that,
Oh,
that makes
okay.
me like,
I thought you were gonna shut me down right now and just
And
be
then
like,
just-
"This is fake as fuck."
And then just the guys, just the picture on the front, like he's just
Nick
worried
does
about
this
something.
kind of stuff for a
Oh my
living.
God,
It's-
Hiscox.
Hiscox.
And
Hiscox. He's got multiple.
there's a plurality of
Apparently
cocks
it-
for the
it-
one.
It's dildo insurance
His.
or something. I don't know.
And, there's one to rule them all.
I guess.
This is not.
Apparently, there's multiple.
And I was like, okay, maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, but there's no way
No,
that you could pronounce
no,
that
there's-
differently that would make it any
There's
better.
no other way to pronounce that. That is about as
Is it
clear cut as you get. Hiscox.
Isn't X like
Clear
silent
cocks.
in French?
Hiscox.
what?
I don't know.
His
Isn't
cocks.
X silent in French? Hiscox.
Hisqua.
Hisqua.
Hisqua sounds.
Hisqua.
That
Hisqua.
sounds-
That also sounds suggestive. Is
Hisqua.
that
Hisqua.
Hiscox.
and the best part is that there's like little slogans and shit on the back.
No.
And all of them sound terrible, but real. Okay, so let's see. First of all, they have a passion for service.
Well, I bet they do.
97% customer satisfaction. Only 97 though.
Well, that's much more impressive than I have.
And it says, "Get everything you need and nothing you don't with Hiscox."
Okay, this has got to be a joke.
Hiscox will never
No,
be a
I
sponsor
don't
of this
believe
podcast.
you. Can I? Please, I
I'm
need to
looking
verify
this
this
up
with
on
my
the
own
internet.
eyes for a second.
Oh, see, that's
I will
the problem.
take a picture of that and put it up on,
Yeah.
on the
This-
page.
Wow.
That
What
could
I'm
be
looking
the-
up on the internet might not
that
be
could be
in
the
it.
Oh
picture.
man, be careful.
Wow.
Incognito search, my friend.
That could be the cover for the picture for the
Yes.
on YouTube.
What if that's just the name of the podcast this week?
Wow.
Hiscox. No description or anything. People are like, I don't know if I want to click on this.
I actually read that. It's been one of those days.
Oh wow, you okay?
Tailored to fit your field.
Tailored to your needs.
Man. And it's addressed to me, but they. Oh, hold on.
Wait, what?
First of all, a lot of businesses spell my name wrong. That's fine.
Based in Chicago.
These people didn't put the second L because I have two L's in my name, but they added a second P to the end of Philip.
Philippe.
So it's Philipp.
Wow.
Hiscox. PB.
They're all about
Yeah.
the
Just
keeps
costs.
going.
It's intentional. I think
So,
There's-
so
this
it
is a
says
ruse.
Philip.
Well, we know it's not Nick
Philip
because
Bracco.
Nick was complaining about the quality of the postcard. So
and his Cox sent this little postcard to Slick Willie's. Something's going on. There's a dick mystery going
yeah.
on.
and I've got a raging clue right now.
Oh no.
It's quite the chain of sausages, my
That
friends.
has clue glue all over it.
Anywho, Nick, what did you want to bring? You wanted to bring something up.
I thought a good topic for this week would be everyone's favorite comedians.
Yes.
Stand up or acting.
Hell yes. And why? It was whose birthday was it recently?
Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah.
It would have been his birthday. It would have been his
Rest in
40th
peace,
birthday.
Mitch.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
God.
And he's been one of my favorite comedians.
That's the
since-
one with the where they brought the donut. to
Yep,
his
with the
game?
donut. That is him.
You guys just
Oh,
want to like
man.
go? Well, you brought it up. If you want to go
in,
first,
I don't care. Whoever. So, anyways, I was talking a little bit with Phil earlier this week. I think Thursday, about bringing this up, and him and I both shared the fact that we had adored Mitch's stand-up.
Yes.
He kind of
Hell
invented Twitter comedy before there even was a Twitter.
He did, man.
These,
He was
those
the
quick,
king.
short stories and one-liners. He was just the king at it.
King of the one-liners. I agree.
One of my, it's not my favorite, but one of my favorites I was just listening to the other day of his was he would tell the crowd he was a heroin addict in the sense that he liked to have sex with women who saved other people.
So it's kind of like
but
a
anyways.
Dimitri Martin.
Dimitri Martin, I feel,
He's more of a
Uh,
prop comic.
yeah, and
with
he's also
his
like
picture.
when he does the one-liners, and he has little sections of his act, and when he does the one-liners section, it's like it's almost more intellectual than Mitch Hedberg ever tried to be. So like you really got to think about the shit that Dimitri Martin is saying to get it. Sometimes you're just like, wait a second. And then you guys are like, okay, I get it. All right. There you go, Dimitri.
Fuck, I
like
missed the
Dimitri
last
too.
four now.
But anyways,
Great.
like George Carlin, it just
Great
Oh,
man.
yes.
That's my
Yeah.
number one all-time favorite ever comedian.
Yes.
His comedy is just—it went beyond comedy. He used comedy to
get
kinda,
very valid points across.
yeah, get valid points across and to put his philosophy out there.
I
and
think
his
I think
view
that
of
is the mark
world.
of a great comedian when they can deliver a message, but make you enjoy it the entire time. It's not feeling heavy-handed when they come at you with the
Exactly.
message.
He never got preachy. but he always got his point across immediately.
Right.
It was just like, this is how I feel about this. If you don't like it, you shouldn't be at this show because you should know what I'm about at this point. But he never got like stood up on a soapbox like real preachy about whatever he was talking about. I like that.
Yeah.
God, Jim Gaffigan. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah.
Pockets.
Yes, his hot
Fucking
pocket.
love Jim Gaffigan.
Or especially the whole thing, that whole bit where he starts going on and on about whatever, and then he's talking about the invention of the bathrobe or whatever, and he had just come off, or he would just come off Hot Pockets or whatever, but leading into it, and he's all, what about this rope around the waist? Well, you can dunk it in the toilet. And then that was pretty much the same, I think the same line he ended the Hot Pockets bit with, too.
Well, he would just start.
Piece of bread filled with nasty
No,
meat.
a solid
Dunk it
favorite
in
of
the
mine,
toilet.
like from him, is when he explains vacations, where you just go and eat a lot of food in really nice places. Like, you ever just notice you're on vacation? It's like, I think we should get something to eat before we head out, and then maybe before we go, we need to go, just go pick up something to eat. And then when we get there, maybe I'll try something there.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
let's see.
God. Let's see. Then there was Mitch, of course. Bill Burr.
Yes.
Bill
Bill
Dude,
Burr's a
king
good one.
Oh man.
He's like the new king of rage, right behind Louis Black, which is my number 5. But
I always think
Louis fucking Black.
I think Bill Burr is always really, really good in whatever, like, because he does a little bit of acting too. And I think he was in Breaking Bad.
yeah,
And he was funny in that. Like, he didn't have a huge part at all, but
he had a
he's
couple
just
small bits
funny
associated with
all the
Saul.
time.
But it
I'm
was
going to
great.
say something. It's going to be possibly controversial,
Oh shit.
but to me, Bill Maher is the second generation of Dennis Leary.
I could give him that, but I wasn't too big of a Dennis Leary fan either.
Well, it was more of a time period for me. I was growing up, and I was an adult when Dennis Leary was doing all his stuff. So, like the song "Asshole" and all that, you
Yeah.
know, I'm
I
an
can definitely
asshole.
see that. They're definitely similar, but I don't remember ever watching anything from Dennis Leary.
Well, yeah,
Not enough to compare.
but that's what I'm
anyway.
saying. It's more of a generational thing, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm doing this to you, Paul. You're going to hate me really bad.
Like Demolition Man. That stuff that he did in Demolition Man is essentially his comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do it.
One thing that was a complete shock when I first heard it, Adam Sandler's first comedy album, They're All Gonna Laugh at You.
Oh, that was a great.
Holy shit, that one is fucking great. There's one where this, like his college roommate, or he's playing a guy with a college roommate, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so drunk, man." It's like, is that the beer I gave you? Yeah, that's not alcoholic. Well, I'm really high. Hey, is that the weed I sold you? Yeah, that was just pencil shavings.
Yeah.
And then he like just
Or-
depresses the guy to where he attempts suicide. He's like, "Oh my God, you shot yourself." I know, man. I'm going. I'm sorry. I was like, "Hey, is that the gun I sold you?" Yeah. Those are blanks. You have a good night, and just leaves the guy there, and it's silent for a while. So you just hear
Or the
hear him sobbing. I'm like, oh.
or the sex or workout where he's like, "I'm gonna play you a tape, and you're gonna have to tell me, are these guys having sex or working out?" And every one of them, it starts out where they're like, "Ooh, oh yeah, oh yeah, do it." And the guy's like, "I think they're having sex," and he's like, "No, they're working out." And so they get somebody else and play the next one. And he's like, "We're definitely having sex here. We're having man-on-man sex." And he goes, "What do you think they're doing?" And the guy goes like, "They're having sex." And he's like, "No, they're working out."
I'm sorry about Adam Sandler again.
No, that's
Was
right.
that,
that's
was
right.
that 5 for you, Nick?
Not
Or-
that 5. I don't know. You guys have watched Bill Burr, I'm sure.
Yes.
But my favorite bit was he's talking about he's in the store, getting ready to buy the pumpkin or whatever. It keeps going and keeps going in, but every time he keeps stopping, same thing. Every time he reaches for it, he just has his buddies in the back of his head. What are you, a fan? But yeah,
That's a
where
good
I
one.
end things.
He's great at
At least
stuff
for
like
me.
that.
Ooh, one that always got me. Easily Aziz Ansari.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Him I love way too much. Particularly his, I don't know if you've heard his Bed Bath and Beyond joke where he talks about like the amount of crazy shit that has to come together in life for you to meet somebody that needs to happen.
Oh, yes.
And
I
he's
have
talking
heard
about
this.
it, how the buddy met the girl at the Bed Bath & Beyond. They're having a kid. And it's like the only reason he was at that Bed Bath & Beyond is because his fucking roommate clogged the toilet up and then used all the toilet paper, so they had to go buy more toilet paper. It's like, so it's weird. It's like he can just be there taking a shit. It's like, I just help create life while taking a shit.
Right.
I like his show on Netflix is pretty good, too.
Which one?
Master of None. pretty good show.
That one was good. All the specials are pretty good that I've liked. I really liked him in Parks and Rec.
He was great in
Tom
Parks and Rec, but
Haverford.
I feel like in the last season or two, he was really he became almost a caricature of himself, or like who his character was, because it seemed like he did not want to be there. And I know he wasn't there for a good bit of at least one season where like he quit, and him and John Ralphio, like they were rich and they
They
started
had Entertainment 720.
Right, and that felt like a reason to write Aziz out of the show, but then they brought him back, and I thought he was great in Parks and Rec too, but at the very end, it just seems like he did not want to be there at all for me.
Oh, John Ralphio. That's
So-
one of my favorite characters.
So I can go with at least my top 5. And number 1 again, George Carlin,
Yep.
hands down great. Number 2 is Louis C.K.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
He wrote Pootie Tang.
Yes,
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yes.
See, most people don't know that. So
right.
when they find out, you're like, wait, what?
And he's also Mexican, like half Mexican.
Yeah.
And you never could tell
He,
that.
actually, he does a bit about that in one
He
of his
does in
stand-ups
one of
where
his
he talks
stand-ups.
about him
Yeah,
being
he gets
half
into a
Mexican.
cab, and the cab driver's like complaining about Mexicans or Hispanics, and he goes, I'm Mexican.
So I mean that's great. Like his whole bit on the word faggot or the N word, where
Love
he's
it.
like
I love
he's
it.
like I don't care about the actual N word, but when you say the N word, fuck you because you make me think about it in my head instead of you saying it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, take credit for the word. Don't
Right.
just-
Right. Don't put it.
Abbreviate
Don't
it,
make
like-
me think it when you were the one who was trying to say it.
yeah.
One of my favorite bits from Louis C.K. is probably his Cinnabon bit, where he's just
Oh,
like,
God, yes.
I got off the plane where I was arriving, and I went to this airport
Cinnabon.
Cinnabon.
Yeah.
Do you want? No, I want that one right there. But that one's like 3 days old. I want it. Put it in my mouth. Like, you're gonna sell me that
Oh
Cinnabon.
my God. Did any of you know that he played a role on Gravity Falls?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Yes.
in the
I was
Weird
watching that.
Mageddon, he plays this head monster with an arm coming out of it, and he's like telling people to get in his mouth. You sir, just come here, sir. Please, would you please just get in my mouth? Just
Gravity Falls is too well written, man. That show was amazingly written. A
Uh,
lot of little sneak cameos for it.
Yeah.
Y'all do need to watch
Yeah, I
it.
downloaded it. Haven't started watching it yet. But
Please
that's
do
on
it.
the list for sure.
But anyways, back to Paul.
Yeah, so the third one, I guess, for me, and it's more of the controversial in the sense that they do have an agenda, but it never comes out heavy-handed. Louis Black,
Yes.
Nice.
because
He's
he
very political. You can tell where he stands, but then he isn't just strictly going after Republicans. He
He's
goes
a-
Right.
after
he's a-
Democrats
just
and
the
everyone
whole
else too.
government.
right. The whole political
Ye-
process is a joke, and he's going to point it out to you every time.
I love in one of his early specials, and I won't even try to imitate it because I couldn't come close, but he did this bit about there being a Starbucks on every corner.
Right.
And
Yep.
God, that was the bit that I was like, I need to find everything this guy's ever done and watch it because this dude's fucking hysterical. I feel like, though, he might cause his own heart attack.
Oh, yes.
With how
Mid-show.
angry.
Right. Like, okay, watching the movie Accepted where he was the dean.
The dean.
I
oh
love
my
that
God.
movie.
It
I
was-
love that movie.
In that movie,
was
I'm certain
great.
he wrote his own lines.
Probably.
I think he did.
Just because it was like, oh, we got Louis Black. All right, you know what? We're not going to even ask you to read these lines. Just tell us what you want to say.
Just go for just walks in.
young Justin Long, fat girl like Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
scream.
And Louis Black. Yeah.
Don't tell nobody I scream like
I
that.
dig that movie.
Yeah, it was
South
great.
Harmon Institute of Technology.
Yeah, yeah, shitheads.
Oh, God, dude.
Oh.
Comedy
So-
Central classic right there, man.
So number 4, I'm gonna go back old school. Richard Pryor.
Boom.
Yes. Yes.
All of the classics that he does. I mean, just amazing. And then number 4, and I hate to push out a lot of other great ones. I mean, number 5 is Eddie Murphy when he was doing Raw.
Yes,
all of
80s
that.
with his leather suit.
Yes.
I still have that on
How-
DVD, man.
The leather suit.
Unfortunately,
Yes, the red leather suit.
far
Yes.
that man
it's
has
just the
fallen,
picture
though.
of it.
Well,
has a red
Yes,
leather
you're
suit.
right. His
His-
first stand-ups were
his-
like
his-
revolutionary.
his shit in
the
the 80s
first
was
movies,
amazing, man.
everything that Eddie Murphy did in the 80s.
Yes.
Great.
Oh, wait, hold on. When was the last time any of you watched Raw? I
just
probably
saw it
watched
6 months
like
ago.
a
Actually,
year
like
and a half ago.
Like a month
Probably
and a half
about 3
ago.
years ago.
If I'm
I
being
saw it-
completely
okay,
honest.
so it's fresh then.
I saw it
Do
6
you-
months ago.
Did you realize how crazy racist that stand-up
no.
special is?
Yes. So
Whoa,
I noticed.
okay.
I saw that stand up when I was like
It's
14,
nuts.
and
Yes.
I caught that.
It's amazing.
Most of those back in that day, they really
Well,
were. But
Richard Pryor also
Yes.
was
Oh,
100% racist in his.
Yeah.
But that's the time where you could be that way and just insult the honkies
go
and the
with it.
crackers and all of that kind of stuff.
White devil, white devil.
Yeah.
You quince Wucha.
if you're gonna
Well, okay. Undercover Brother, that was in the 90s, and
Undercover
we still
Brother.
had White She-Devil.
that's all you
Yes.
need to say.
Yeah.
Undercover brother.
Eddie Griffin.
And so even then, in the 90s, it was still kind of acceptable. Now we're in 2016. They're probably not going to make another movie like that. You're not going to have another stand-up comedian. Kevin Hart is kind of edgy, but
I want to talk about Kevin Hart in a little bit.
okay.
Is it in reference to Cat Williams and what was said today?
What? What? I missed something.
What?
Hold on. I was a little busy being
I
injured.
had
What's
taken
going
my
on?
Phil sigh that yes.
Well, okay.
Well, what happened?
You did your top five. I did my top five. Did you?
No.
You got most of mine already too. We share a lot. The
Well,
other
I
thing
mean,
was like
we do
Aziz.
share a lot,
Aziz, Louis C.K. was the big one. You brought up Richard Pryor, Red Fox. I don't know if y'all saw Red Fox
yes, Red Fox.
as a stand-up. Holy shit, man!
Bum bum ban Bum
He
bum ban
played Richard Pryor's dad in Sanford and Sons, that old sitcom. Go back, look at Red Fox's old shit. That was really good. Aziz, Dimitri Martin, you already hit. There was one. He's on the tip of my tongue right now.
No, I just said Dimitri Martin. I didn't actually say
I
he
do.
was
I
my
like.
top
I
five.
did like Dimitri Martin a lot. There's one that's like right there on the tip of my tongue. I forgot it.
Well,
in the
give us some of
confusion.
the comedy routines. Maybe we can get it.
That's what I'm trying to remember. It was like right there, and I lost it all.
You're not helping me, Jimmy.
I know I'm not helping you. That's not the point.
Well, let's go to Phil.
Go to Phil. I'll get back to
Or
it.
we can hit Sam's first.
Oh, Sam's got him. Yes.
All right.
Well, I love Louis C.K. I love George Carlin, Louis Black. I do have Wanda Sykes on here. To be honest, I
Oh,
love
yes.
her stand-up "Sick and Tired."
Which-
That's
I'm
one of
so-
my favorites.
I'm
Biggie
surprised
Shorty.
you like Wanda Sykes, but you haven't seen Monster-in-Law yet. You need to see that one. That one was pretty good.
I enjoy Kevin Hart. I know y'all are maybe gonna
no.
bash on him.
No,
I don't
I'm
know.
not against
No,
Kevin
I'll-
Hart.
no, I can't say should have been Kevin Hart because that's how my
And
normal
I
nights
really
go.
liked Lisa Lampanelli.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow, I haven't heard
That
from her
was
in
a
a
great
while.
special.
She lost a lot of
She-
weight.
Did she?
I haven't seen
Yes.
her recently, but she is very funny.
I really only like her in the roast. I don't really like her stand-up, but I love her in the roast.
Oh, she
because
is a
she
roast.
I
always
am the
asks
other way
her-
around with that. I
She-
don't care
really?
for her the roast
So-
stuff, but
So,
her stand-ups are great.
an honorary runner-up for me is John Leguizamo
He's pretty
because
wow.
he makes his comedy shows real personal. He's telling you a story about his life, and then he turns it and like, make fun of me, you
Yeah.
know, kind of like Kevin Hart does with like laugh at my pain and all that, where he's telling stories about his life, but he's making fun of himself at the same time.
One more. I know Phil's gonna hate on me for this, but
Uh-oh.
I really enjoy Cat Williams.
Cat Williams.
Cat Williams.
That's pretty-
And it
Motherfucker's
starts.
lost his
It
goddamn mind
starts.
here last
Okay.
couple years.
That's a good list. That's a good list. You actually brought up most of ours are going to be pretty identical. I think you hit a couple that was a bit
Wanda
different,
Sykes
so that's
is a
good.
long forgotten one for me
Um,
every now and then.
Before I even get into my top five, and I have a little more than five, but I narrowed it down to actually five numbers.
I gave you people a list and a rule.
Yeah.
One rule.
Oh, that's why I said honorable mention
But-
on my side.
Do I look like I follow rules, Nick?
Speaking
Jeez.
of
Yes, you kind of do.
Cat Williams and Kevin Hart, and no one brought him up yet, but Dane Cook.
Oh, there's
I
a
feel
reason I
like
didn't bring him up.
There's
He's a hit
so
and
many
miss.
comedians that they have this big rise and then they have an immediate fall because they're too fucking gimmicky.
Carlos
They-
Mencia.
It's a
Carrot Top.
It's a gimmick. Like that, what they're saying.
The unknown comedian?
What they're saying isn't funny, but how they're saying it is funny because of their inflection.
You
and
mean
their
like Jerry
delivery.
Seinfeld with, what is the thing about these airline foods right now? You know?
Kind of, but Jerry Seinfeld has jokes. Like George Carlin is always going to be almost everyone's number one because I mean he just talked and he said real jokes. He found humor in dark places and when you're talking about Dane Cook, and I used to love Dane Cook, his first like 2 or 3 specials were amazing, but then if you can
notice
just
the decline.
acknowledge it and see where they are now as comedians, and you're just like, oh man, what you were saying was not funny. How
Right.
you were saying it was funny.
Right.
Like, Dane Cook did this whole bit about singing to car alarms. And he did all of it on stage, the whole like inflection of the car alarm, but adding lyrics to it. And at the time, goddamn, rolling on the floor laughing. Now I'm just like, we bought this shit. We bought this shit by
Hook,
the
line, and
millions.
sinker.
You
I
went
did not.
platinum.
But-
You, thank you.
But when you think about it, it's really all about your delivery in the end. Because I mean, like I was saying, George Carlin did say some good, legitimate, funny jokes, but also his delivery really helped with that too. Because he had that old cynical sarcasm.
It was
in
the
there.
voice, yeah.
It was the voice. It's what happened. Like same thing with Dane Cook, also with Kevin Hart, and like I said to Carlos Mencia, he was one of those how he delivered it, but
Oh,
it wasn't too
wow.
funny. But
I think delivery
Because
is
the way he
important.
did
You
it.
have to have your own unique voice for people to like you anyway.
Yeah.
But like Kevin Hart relies too much on his gimmick of just being like,
Being a little
wow,
guy.
like all the time, just
Well,
like screaming and
He
running
also
around
makes
the stage.
he
and-
also personalizes it too, like John Leguizamo, where he's talking like the last one was talking about his divorce and all the stuff that he's going through there. You know, he's making it about himself, whereas Dane Cook never made it about himself.
And with Cat Williams, I used to like Cat Williams.
Okay.
But in the middle of one of his comedy specials, now, and I know sometimes you got to differentiate somebody's professional work from who they are as a person, but in his professional work, in the middle of his stand-up show, he started going off on this tirade about how he shits on people that believe in science and he doesn't believe in evolution.
Wait,
and
what?
if you do believe in evolution, that you're an idiot. And
Does he-
if evolution's a thing, then why are there still monkeys? Like that came out of his mouth.
Really?
So I will forever hate Cat Williams.
So he's in the category with B.O.B.
Oh yeah, he kind of went just straight into B.O.B. territory, or maybe B.O.B. went into Cat Williams territory. I don't know.
Oh yeah, let's go that way.
guys,
More that
I
way.
need to stop this entire thing right now.
Okay,
Because this is a big deal that just came out.
what happened?
Ladies and gentlemen, Leonardo DiCaprio has won the Oscar
Oh,
for The
shit.
Revenant.
Nice. For The Revenant, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Nice.
It's
For what?
about
For
time.
Best
It's
Actor?
about time.
Damn.
Thank you.
Nice.
I'm gonna do it again.
Do it again, please. I mean, come on. He got them all back. Goddamn bear. Motherfucker, give him his Oscar.
Remember when people thought he was being raped by the bear?
He practically did. You don't need to stick your dick in to rape it, man. He did pretty bad. It's a bear.
A rapey bear.
Anything a bear does to you is going to be pretty much rape.
A rapey bear.
I hope that Leo's win doesn't get like overshadowed by this whole like Oscars so white thing.
You mean how Chris Rock
I don't
hosted?
want to talk about it, but I just hope it doesn't happen. Wait, what about Chris Rock?
Chris Rock hosted.
Yeah,
He's hosting right
Oh, is
now.
he?
Yeah.
You know what? Let's see if we can get the
I
remote
saw-
and change it.
Well, I
See
saw
what's going on.
earlier.
Oh,
I
it's
saw a
already
quick
over?
picture.
It
Good.
was over already.
Chris Rock brought out his daughters to sell Girl Scout
Yeah.
cookies to the people in the
Her
audience. It was a
troop,
joke.
yeah.
It was a bit,
Oh,
I'm sure,
God,
but
no, don't
it
even
was.
They got like
Hey,
over
dude,
65 grand actually.
Yeah, let's not start with Girl Scout cookies, man. Have you ever been to a Girl Scout warehouse?
No. I have you.
Ladies and gentlemen, because there's some things that are way more addicting and worse for you than cocaine and heroin, my friend. Real
Been
trap
mixed.
houses, they're not the crack houses. They're not your heroin dens. They're not your meth labs. No, it is the fucking Girl Scout
I
cookies
am wondering.
warehouse. Because you can't walk in there without buying at least 20 boxes.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
they will
Buying a
pressure you
case.
harder than any drug dealer. And the worst part is that product sells itself.
All right, Jimmy. I am very easily able to say no to a little girl. I don't know what your problem is.
Cookies, man. That's a lot of cookies. You can say no to it when they only have a couple boxes, but when you got a warehouse sitting in front of you of Thin Mints,
It was on 12.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it's hard to say no.
True. Did you know, depending on what part of the United States you live on, that the Girl Scout cookies are called different things?
Yes,
Yeah.
and they change too.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, I'm
have on
assuming on the East Coast maybe that, like, they're just called, like, peanut butter cookies, and over here they're called whatever the fuck.
Fucking whatever they, I don't
yeah.
know. In California, they're all just like whole wheat bread with some fresh vegetables.
Gluten-free Thin Mints.
Gluten-free
Yes.
Thin Mints.
Gluten-free kale crackers.
Kale cracker.
Sounds delish.
I'll ask some friends in LA, see how that turns out. See what they get over there.
Oh, another gimmicky comedian that had this huge rise and an immediate fall, Jeff Dunham.
Yes,
if any
I
one
hate
of you
that
put
motherfucker.
Jeff Dunham in your top 5 comedians, you were getting punched in the face.
Okay.
'Cause
So I will admit,
he's a fucking ventriloquist. And
I-
he's not even a good one.
right? Well, okay. Back in the day, he was actually funny. Before I realized he was 100%.
You know how
Friendship
racist
over,
that
Paul.
dude is?
Well, that's what I'm getting to. Before I realized he was 100% racist. But you got to remember, I grew up in a different time. So 2001 is when I saw him.
All right.
And so in 2000, it was still fun to make fun of people and say, "Oh, you're totally gay." You know, nobody had a problem with it. I could be like, "Oh, that's totally retarded." Nobody would be like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" So I mean, if you watch the movies around that time, you know it all reflected the same thing. So Jeff Dunham doing those kind of comedy skits, it was hilarious. It was funny. Seeing him 10 years later, it was like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?" All these rednecks are laughing at this, and nobody else is laughing.
Yeah. My favorite thing about Jeff Dunham's rise to fame was that there were other shittier ventriloquists that
Trying
tried
to make it.
to mimic that success and got nowhere even close. But
Yep.
you can find their specials at like Redbox and shit like that, or on
Right.
or maybe even on Netflix. But
I'm good.
Fucking hell, it
Like-
was bad.
Like when I saw him, he was trying. You know how they try out their bits as they're going on tour and all that. So he had brought out his manager. I can't remember the puppet's name, but it's a black guy, clearly a Southern character.
Oh,
I've seen
sweet
the black-
Dandy.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got the southern
And-
accent. He does the lip sync.
Yes,
Yep.
and it was like
all that.
And I mean, back then it was funny. We were laughing. He brought out the Jewish superhero.
It's weird that no one questioned it, though, because it wasn't like it was that long ago. It wasn't like 20 or 30 years ago. We're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
maybe 10.
Less
Well,
than
no, that's what I'm
10
saying.
years ago.
That's what I'm saying. 2001, he was doing the circuit, and I saw him at Capital City Comedy Club.
After 9/11, he could do the most racist
yes,
Arab
with
character ever because
Ahmed.
nobody cared.
Ahmed, yeah, he got
Nobody
away
cared.
with
They were
Ahmed
just
for
like,
that.
yeah, fuck off, 9/11. and
It's
shit.
not gonna stop. It's just not stopping, man.
Oh wow. Oh, the memes are gonna be
The
coming hard
memes of
tonight
Leo winning his
with
first
Leo
Oscar
winning.
are gonna
It's
be
gonna
great.
But anybody else know any other like super gimmicky comedians? Like Gallagher was super gimmicky.
That was the epitome
Carrot
of the
Top.
gimmick.
He keeps
See,
saying Carrot Top,
now, I
and
remember
Carrot
he
Top
brought up
was.
Carrot Top.
No,
Yeah.
he brought up Carrot Top, but I cannot say shit about Carrot Top.
Why? Because he
Carrot
works out and he
Top's
might beat your
scary
ass?
buff now.
He's
Yeah.
not only is he scary buff, he actually makes a lot more money writing shows and comedic pieces
Well,
in
yeah.
Vegas.
Well, yeah, because he was not doing great by himself. as
Yeah,
a
no,
prop
so he
comedian.
just writes now, and he is way more successful now than he ever was on
Does
stage.
anybody know Carrot Top's real name?
No.
No.
But you know
Does
who
it
else was
matter?
gimmicky?
No,
But
it does not.
George Lopez.
George
Is he
Lopez can be gimmicky.
I
He
wouldn't say
can be
gimmicky.
gimmicky.
He's very cultural.
But
Cultural,
it was
yeah.
Gimmicky.
But no, even he had
and
a
he
show.
panders. I think he panders to the cultural comedy.
Yeah.
He knows his
He-
audience,
he-
but I mean maybe
He-
every comedian does that.
He was a
but-
close number 5 for me, actually.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
I
but,
like George Lopez.
but
I'm not
have
even
you
trying to
have
shit
you
on
heard about
Lopez.
George Lopez since the show ended?
I will try to look at
He's
the good
been
and
doing
the bad of
stand-up.
everybody.
Right.
Really, that's it. He's been keeping
He's,
low,
he's in
doing
town
stand-up.
soon.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be in.
Yeah, and he's
He
cool
had a
with
talk
radio
show. He had a talk show.
He recorded at least 1 or 2 comedy specials here in
Or-
San Antonio, right?
I don't know about that, but
If we want to go there,
I think so. I think there was one.
Yeah.
It was part of it, yeah.
Cheech and Chong.
I don't know if they're a flash in the pan kind of thing. They lasted.
No,
for
they lasted
years.
a while,
They had
but they
several
took
successful
their whole thing and just ran with it on a whole
movies.
nother
Oh, yeah.
level.
They still are.
I know it's great. Actually, they did do a special here in town
Mm-hmm.
a while back, and they had Chong's wife open for them and
Wow.
talking about when the FBI wants to go raid his house. They're
'Cause
looking
he-
for him, and
yeah.
he's all messed up, and they run in and they're like, "We're looking for Tommy Chong," and they get in his house like, "Do you have any drugs in the household?" And his wife's like, "He swear to you, he just looked at me. He's like, I'm Tommy Chong."
That's a dumb fucking question, sir. I like that Tommy Chong has his own strain of marijuana. He's huge in the weed community. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
He
I
has
did
his
not
own
know
strain.
that.
That
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me and surprises me at the same time. I'm whelmed right now.
You're just
But
right in the middle.
I'm right whelmed.
Does Cheech have his own also?
No.
Oh, okay.
Chong still
He's got
like really
wrapping papers.
embraces that like stoner vibe, but like Cheech doesn't really. I mean,
Right.
it's not like he's.
Well, he went legitimate for a while in Hollywood.
I can't think of for whatever reason. One of my favorite movies when I was a kid was Oliver and Company, and
He was the
Yes.
Chihuahua.
He did the Chihuahua.
Yeah, he does some decent
What
voice
a-
acting.
oh,
for
Yeah,
George
no,
Carlin.
he does a lot.
We can't leave him. He's family. He's blood. Oh God! Then I gotta go watch that
Sam
movie.
brought up a good gimmicky one.
Jeff Foxworthy.
Oh,
Larry the Cable Guy?
You might be a
Larry the Cable
Larry the
Guy
Ca-
also.
I think
That
they-
whole group.
I think they even lampooned
well,
him
except
during one of the things
Ron
they
White.
would
Ron White
with his
is a
catchphrase.
legitimate.
Yeah.
Like he stayed relevant.
Any comedian that can do at least like 30 minutes.
Ron White.
where every joke starts with one
Larry the
sentence.
Cable- Bill Engvall.
The same sentence.
You know you're a redneck if
Right.
and then more examples.
Yeah.
Like that's not being
I
a
think-
comedian.
No.
See right there, Jeff
That's just
Dunham
being
kinda
observational.
Was a meme before memes existed.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Proto
You know,
memes.
it was-
Redneck if.
So you had on their little comedy thing. You had Ron White, Jeff Foxworthy.
Larry
Bill
the Cable
Engvall.
Guy.
Okay.
Bill Engvall is
Bill
the last.
Engvall's another
because
one who's
it
super
was
gimmicky.
But
And the
he
black
had-
dad from Malcolm in the middle.
The
was
black
on there.
dad from they had him on occasion.
What
too.
is his name?
Well,
He
it
does a lot
depended
of
because
shit.
you
I
had
keep
the
forgetting
different
his goddamn
kings
name.
of comedy after that,
Right.
and you
had
had
the Latin Kings of
the
comedy.
Latin kings, the black kings of comedy.
The
I think that
original?
one might have
It was
just
the
been
original
Queens
King
of comedy.
Oh yeah, there were.
And
They're
then the
like the new
Queens.
kings of comedy.
Yeah.
Can we just get like the B list of comedy? Just like not so famous, but they're still pretty good.
Oh, like
the kind of okay
what's her
guys
name?
of
comedy.
Hey,
Kathy
remember these
Griffith?
guys of comedy?
Like Kathy Griffith.
Oh wow.
Oh, that one.
She is 100% embraced her. I'm the B or C list.
D-list.
I
yeah,
feel like
the
Sarah
D-list.
Silverman's done that too, though. Sarah Silverman's kind of
She
embraced her
She
B-listness.
rose up, and then kind of went. Whitney Cummings in the same vein,
Yeah.
but Whitney Cummings did kind of a Dave Chappelle and had a freak out and,
And
like
Chelsea-
disappeared. Handler.
Handler.
I
didn't
mean,
really
they were
get into
great
her that much,
comedy,
Chelsea Handler.
but like Whitney Cummings literally had a Dave Chappelle freak out and just like I'm done, with her show and all that. So,
Yeah.
But the thing is, people cared when Dave Chappelle
well,
left.
the Two
She
Broke
had the-
Girls is still hers.
Yeah, she still writes for that. But no, she had
The
the sitcom, and
Whitney.
then she had a talk show.
Oh yeah, she had the talk
On
show after
E!
Chelsea left.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's right. She did have a talk show. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She had those two shows, and then she was writing for. Is one of the creators for Two Broke Girls,
Yeah.
along with one of the guys from Sex
Michael
and the City,
Patrick King.
some shit like that.
Wow.
One of the Sex and the City guys, I think.
Yeah, Michael Patrick King.
Fucking A.
All right.
Well, okay, so I got to get to my top 5. And I just wrote down like a shitload of comedians, and then I did number 1 through 5 because I was like, Nick gave me specifics. I gotta try to write 1 through 5. So before I'm gonna go 5 to 1,
Go for it.
but I'm gonna do my special mentions that didn't make any numbers. And I'm gonna first of all, because when Nick was talking to me about it, he was like, it could be stand-up comedians, it could be professional actors that are almost exclusively in comedies.
Oh.
It could be people that you find funny for one reason or another, just your favorites though. So with that said, I put so Patrice O'Neal. He didn't make top 5, but goddamn, that dude is fucking funny. And
Was.
he died way too soon. His stand-up specials were great.
And people are
And
stealing
he
his
was
comedy
on a
now.
podcast.
This
forever.
podcast?
Not this
Oh,
podcast.
it's like, whoa.
I wish.
Bringing back the dead.
Richard Pryor made mine.
Yes.
Not top 5 though. Bill Burr and Amy Poehler were both on there. Amy
Oh.
Poehler was the only female comedian I actually put down because I like a lot of female comedians, but
Well,
I really like Amy Poehler.
So I like Amy Schumer. A lot of her comedy is great.
Amy
It's
Schumer's
a little
pretty good.
edgy, and that's fine.
Yeah. And then Dave Chappelle and Bill Hicks.
Oh.
Bill Hicks. That's one I forget
wow.
about a lot.
Bill
actually.
Hicks was good. Bill Hicks was good, but I feel like everything that Bill Hicks was about, George Carlin did better. So if we're going number 5, this was a 3-way tie, a number 5. But that's Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, and John Oliver, which are the guys that
Oh.
deliver news, but in a funny way. And really one of the only reasons why I stay up to date on current events.
And that's a beautiful thing. But what they do is just way above just the actual comedy.
Well, it goes into they teach you something, but they're not overly preachy about it,
Yeah.
and you enjoy it at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
Love it.
Same thing with George Carlin, Lewis Black, and all of those.
You get
Oh,
something from it.
John Mulaney was another one that didn't make top 5.
Oh.
his stand-up special that's on Netflix. I think he has like 2 now, but his first one was goddamn. He's one of those guys where he's super Jewish and he embraces his Jewness.
Yeah, Jewness or Jewishness.
So, everything that guy says is fucking hilarious to me for one reason or another.
You know what I saw last night, and in the vein of Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert, Trevor Noah and his stand-up.
I like Trevor Noah, but I don't like him on The Daily Show. I like his stand-up, but I don't like him being a replacement for Jon Stewart. I don't think he carries that show very well.
They've changed the format a little bit to go with more of what he does, and I'm liking the new format. Although I can see a lot of people, not for the reasons that you have, I can see a lot of people just bitching about it because a black guy's replacing a white guy and being like, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong,
but it's a half black guy replacing a Jewish guy.
Well, one of the jokes he made is his dad is Swiss and his mom is African, and then he goes, "Well, you know how the Swiss like chocolate."
Good stuff.
Well, okay. Well, if we're gonna add like actors of comedies, I'm gonna have to go with Charlie Day, man. Especially him off It's Always Sunny. Just way too much stuff I can go into.
All of the cast.
The whole cast. It was hard to really pick because they're just really great at what they do.
If you add the entire cast, because they all write it and they all contribute to it.
Charlie Day is so funny. I wish that he did stand-up comedy.
It'd be that'd be way too much. That would be way. I don't even think I'd leave there like breathing by the end of that. I'd just be laughing so hard. I mean, though, it'd be weird. How would Charlie Day stand up even be like?
I don't know. See, with actors though, it's one of those things where it's like, are you funny? Are you this funny because somebody's writing for you and you're just really good at the delivery, or are you writing all of your own stuff and you're also really funny on camera?
Like, I mean, that one and also Workaholics.
Oh yeah, those guys are
that
funny.
one.
Like
They have hit and misses. Some of them are misses. A lot of them are good hits. With
one
me,
of those
though.
guys was in that in the Pitch Perfect movies. Fuck.
I saw them too. I did see the Pitch Perfect.
It was funny.
Movies.
I saw both of them.
I
don't give a F.
This shit was pretty fucking hilarious. That shit, way funnier. That one in Neighbors, Seth Rogen and Zac Efron. That one was way funnier than it should have been.
Best scene in that movie, I think, was when they were having the party where they were all dressed like different versions of Robert De Niro. I would love to have a party like that here.
And then meet the Fockers.
But like with some other actor.
The one, I don't know why it caught me off guard when they're actually having.
We're gonna do that with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh yeah, yes.
Benedict Bandersnatch. Let's do it. We're down. I'm down. That is a lot of weird roles we can go into with that one too. Oh god, Cumberdick Bandersnatch party.
Con. Didn't we?
Oh yeah, the Con. That's right.
That's right. Benedict Cumberbatch and shit. And then going up my list, 4 was Mitch Hedberg, of course. King of the One-Liners really was the first comedian to me that like introduced me to the one-liner style of comedy. Because at that point, I had only been used to people telling a joke that took up 20 minutes. You know, and Mitch Hedberg,
like Rodney Dangerfield and all
Mitch
that.
Hedberg came in and was just like, here's a joke, and here's a joke, and here's a joke. And the best thing that I loved about Mitch Hedberg is that some of his jokes didn't work at all, but he had so much confidence in his jokes, just these stupid thoughts that he had, and his little commentary in between his jokes, where he would say something stupid, and then he'd be like, I get paid to do this, and you have to go back to your stupid job tomorrow.
What was that bit I was listening to the other day of his? He's I was supposed to be on the David Letterman show one time, but I got bumped because Madonna was on, and she ran long, this and that. So I just spent the whole time in the green room eating cantaloupe. I didn't even have to cut it or anything. It was already little cubes. And he's like, how about that, Dad? You ever been paid to just eat cantaloupe behind stage?
One of his best dumb jokes that I love was about refried beans. And he was just like, I really enjoy refried beans. That's why I want to try fried beans, because maybe they're just as good with less wasting time. But another one we lost way too soon. I think he would be just as successful doing the same stuff that he was doing today. Just because, again, Demetri Martin does similar comedy. And there's a couple other comedians that do the one-liners. Or Daniel Tosh does one-liner comedy. He's more hit and miss.
He's even explained that like on his stand-up, like he'll take a subject that's kind of funny that applies to everyone, and then bring
Just
it
niche
down.
Yeah,
To
yes, to
very
one
like
person.
one person that might not even be in the fucking room.
I can't believe he didn't make the list. I very much enjoyed Daniel Tosh's stand-up, and I love that he is not afraid to go real dark, even though like over half the audience will turn on him
Dark
when he's
or
doing
offensive,
the like
yeah.
abortion jokes, and he's just
yeah.
like nobody laughed at one of his abortion jokes, and then it was just silent for a few seconds, and then he goes, "One more abortion joke? You got it." And then he just like went into it, and I loved it. And then number 3, Kevin Smith.
Yes.
I'm going to put Kevin Smith up there, and it's not everything that he does, but back in the day, Kevin Smith did a few specials where it was just called An Evening with Kevin Smith, and it was him talking to different colleges for like 4 hours. They were long as hell.
Yeah.
And he's not a stand-up comedian, but he's so funny, and he's just one of those guys where I can listen to that man talk about the dumbest shit forever. Like, and it's gotten to a point though where it's a little oversaturated because he has like 14 different podcasts that he's on, and
Yeah.
he's got the comic book men thing,
And then he does the.
and his movies are getting a little bit more out there. Like the last one that we saw was
Tusk?
Tusk.
Cuss.
And that was a very special movie.
and that's the first of a 3-parter.
Wait, what? Seriously? There's 2 sequels to that
Right.
thing
Well,
coming?
Yoga Hosers just came out, which is supposed to be the second part, with his daughter, Johnny Depp's daughter, Johnny Depp, and a few other people. I got terrible reviews, but most of Kevin Smith's movies do. Whoa, let me try that again. Most of Kevin Smith's movies do.
Yeah.
But I still want to see it. Apparently, in this one, Kevin Smith cameos as a Hitler-esque character who is entirely made out of sausage. That's a real thing that happens in that movie. And then the next one is going to be called Moose Jaws.
I heard of Moose Jaws. That one, I didn't
At
hear about
this
this other
point,
one.
If Kevin Smith can get funding, he's just like, fuck it. Let's just make
Right.
whatever we can while I'm still
He's
alive.
going to go as far. He's essentially going to do Adam Sandler.
Exactly.
If
He's
you give
following
me
it.
money,
if I can get it,
I'm
I'm
gonna
just
keep
going
going.
with it.
I love Kevin Smith so much. I hope not.
Right, but that's what he's doing. He's
I
doing
know.
it.
I know. But yeah.
All
And
that
it's
Jay
just to
Silent
get
Bob
Harley.
times
It's
finally
just to
coming
get
back
Harley to
get
be a
him.
movie star.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
this point, it's just to get Harley to be a movie star.
Number 2 for me was Louis C.K. Love his stand-up.
Yeah.
Love Life with Louis.
Dude, Life with Louis is so dark but hilarious.
One of the
at the same
best. He
time.
approaches dark comedy in a great way, and he approaches taboo subjects like you were talking about. His little bit with the N-word, and all. I love that, and his audience is so diverse because he's not afraid to talk about shit like that.
Right.
And I love it. If you guys get a chance, Nick, I told you about it, but on YouTube there is the whole thing's on YouTube in one video. It's a sit-down conversation between Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld, Louis C.K., and Ricky Gervais. And
God damn, that
they're-
just sounds amazing.
they're literally just talking about their styles of comedy, what works and what doesn't, and then Jerry Seinfeld starts talking a little bit about like college crowds being a little too PC these days.
Oh, his
which
rant
is
on
weird
that
that
one?
he's such an advocate for that because he's such a PG comedian. Jerry
Well,
Seinfeld doesn't
he-
talk
he-
about edgy
Well,
shit.
he's PG in the sense that PG from the 90s, which allowed
He
for you
still
to make.
spoke about masturbation and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
No,
but-
okay, yeah,
especially
you're
on
But
right.
the
think
show,
about it.
The
Think
Deal.
about it. He had the joke about
Or the wager,
oh,
I forget what it
George
was.
and I are friends, but we're not gay. But not that there's anything wrong with
Nothing
that.
wrong with that.
Those kind of.
Bianca just like walked in on the wrong part of that conversation.
But I mean,
touched it and it moved.
Seinfeld didn't grow up out of that.
Yeah.
He still has that mentality from the 90s. So
Hey, you know what movie I really liked that was a Jerry Seinfeld movie that got shit on a lot? B-Movie.
oh,
The
God.
animated masterpiece.
No.
Not masterpiece, but B-Movie. I thought that movie was fucking funny. You didn't
how-
like
I
B-Movie?
did not like B movie.
how did that woman fall in love with a bee?
It was a bee.
His shelf life is going to be like 20 weeks.
Right?
She's going to have to die a widow because 20 weeks, and then she moves on.
I saw it for free, and I thought it was funny.
Well,
no,
it's funny. It's funny.
I thought it got
It-
shit on way too
Hey,
much.
B movie got a B for me. All right, it did.
Okay,
I'm
the
sorry.
movie that needs
That's the
the-
joke on the joke, but it
Whatever.
really was there. It wasn't. great, but I could deal with it.
And wasn't Chris Rock the mosquito?
Yes.
Yes, he was.
Well, let's be a little racist here about that, you know. And
Chris Rock's another good one that
didn't make the
he
list.
Didn't make my list at all. I love his early stand-up. I wish he was still that guy
Right.
and not the Adam Sandler buddy that he is
And
today.
the family man like Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. Anyway, and then of course my number one was George Carlin. Because
'Cause you don't go anywhere
and
past that.
Me and Nick talked about this. Again, like you said, Nick, George Carlin to me is less of a comedian and more of a prophet in one sense or another.
Yeah.
A philosopher. My parents fucked up big time by showing me George Carlin at a very young age, and that immediately started changing my thought process for a lot of things that they were trying to shove down my throat.
Right.
Especially with religion and stuff. Like, I had never heard anybody else talk about religion like that, and I was just like, wait, this guy makes a good fucking point. And they were like, go upstairs, go to bed.
No, well, I think there is one bit he does. I did. He's like, I grew up Catholic until the age of rationality, which was about 3. It's like, oh.
And I like that he does bits too where it's like it is more PG comedy where he does stuff like the hippy dippy weatherman and
the whole newscast thing that he did.
But at the same time, especially in his later specials where he's looking about 5 minutes away from death.
The last one he did.
But the last one, it was great. He was funny all the way to the end. Like, he started super young. I don't know. What did he have? Like 30 HBO specials or some shit like that?
Like
Yeah,
30 specials
I
total
think
or something like
he
that.
has a satellite radio station too that his daughter runs.
No shit.
Yeah.
And him and his manager talking about how he'd been doing it since like the 70s, but he didn't really catch his voice until like 94.
Yeah.
He did like
Yeah.
one special in New York, and that's where he caught his signature sound that everybody most knows him with.
And he did a lot of good work with Kevin Smith.
Most people don't remember The Wash either.
The Wash,
remember
that
The
movie
Wash with like
Dr.
Dre and Snoop Dogg. And
Oh, I
George
remember The
Carlin.
Wash.
It's on Netflix. If you get the chance, everybody, if you get the chance, go watch that.
It's
You're gonna
worse
trip.
than Soul Plane, if you can imagine. But it's hilarious
Still
because
worth to watch,
it's one of those
man.
first movies that like the whole cast is all rappers that can't act at all. That they can't
Sam
act
can't even
at
talk.
all.
So I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but I saw it at a really young age. I really enjoyed Soul Plane. I have not watched it since the first time I watched it, but I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, Soul Plane's so bad it's funny.
It's one of those,
sure.
yeah. It's just so zany, and Snoop Dogg is the pilot.
Yes, and the plane with hydraulics and
The stewardess that lands them by pretending to
young-
get fucked again.
young Kevin Hart, I think, is in that movie.
Was it Mandy Moore that played the daughter in that
Holy
movie?
shit, it was. Yeah. We might need to watch Soul Plane sometime here pretty soon.
Oh, Kevin Hart's first movie, yes.
Just to catch it again, and then they got the son becomes a director for rap videos and shit. He's like,
Yeah.
This needs more ass. This needs more ass.
And sadly, it's prophetic.
Yep. So before we go, Nick's got a couple honorable mentions, I guess,
Yeah.
for comedians that didn't quite make the list. The only 3 technically that weren't strictly stand-up. Anyone know Dion Cole?
No, doesn't ring a bell.
He writes for Conan O'Brien.
Oh, okay.
He's on Angie Tribeca, and
Oh, okay.
he's got a few
Every
other
show.
shows. But he started off came on one night on Conan O'Brien just to do a bit. He just comes out there, he's got a pencil and notepad, and he's just standing there doing his bit, tells his joke, and then he just kind of looks down. All right,
Lines
and
it
like
out.
writes or whatever. Like all right, and then just the next one, and then depending on what the reaction was,
Nope.
just
Write
went on
down
and carried on
crowd
there.
reaction. That's funny.
But he does angry black guy news, I think, on Conan or something like that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Conan will do
badass.
whatever, and then he'll just do black perspective or something like that. And it's like this desk that just goes by with him in it behind Conan.
Yeah. So,
And then Key and Peele. So
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
How do we forget about
Their,
Key and Peele
their
to the
story
end?
of how they met and everything is just awesome, and everything they did. They were up against each other for so many jobs early on because of, I guess, where their background and perspective on so many things, and then they just kind of, while they were both they both tried out for SNL on separate times, going after the job that Kenan Thompson got eventually.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they both showed up same day at MTV Studios or Mad TV Studios, and they were like, well, we're pressed for time. Do you guys mind going up there and doing whatever together? And then since then they just hit it off. They just found a chemistry together.
They're
and then
hysterical, man.
Yeah.
they even talked about it on their show where they just after they met they just kind of started going down their life and found how similar things were. They're like twins separated at birth. But it was
Nice.
just their whole everything. My favorite bit from their show is the very first opening skit on season 1 with bitch. And then they close
I said, bitch.
and then they close the series with that same joke.
But you
Nice.
said that though. You,
But
you
but
called her a
said that.
bitch.
You called her a bitch. Yeah.
They're out in space and
Yeah.
shit.
One of my favorites. Many people, you can't even find it on YouTube because I've tried. Where they're playing bellhops, and it's the skit's called like "That's My Shit," and they're talking about like their
that
favorite.
my shit guys. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
They do
no.
a lot
it's-
of
but
those.
They don't. You can't find that skit on
You gotta
YouTube.
look it on Comedy Central.
I'll have to
You can
look.
it there.
But they're talking
Yeah.
and they're going on. They're going on about Liam Neeson, and
Liam's Neeson's.
and Key. He runs through because they have one of the rotating door,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Liam Neeson's my shit." And he runs in, and it cuts. I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And then he runs out, comes around the block, comes out again.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for their movie Keanu.
Oh
coming
god, I
out.
heard about that.
Ah.
About the cat.
So, I got an honorable mention on top of John Leguizamo. Amy Poehler and Tina Fey together when they
Tina
did like the
dude.
Golden Globes and all
Yep.
that.
Tina
Great.
Fey, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Tina
Tina
Fey's
Fey.
got a serious
Jeez.
movie coming out pretty soon.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I'm gonna
It
go
looks
see
good.
that one.
It looks good.
Oh man, I can't get enough of Tina Fey, man. I love
Yeah.
Tina Fey to death. Jesus Christ. Her and
Sexy
Sarah
as hell.
Silverman. I'm sorry, they can both get it. That's how
Yeah.
it is. That's just how it works.
Well, like Tina Fey was great in 30 Rock.
30 Rock.
She
Or
was one of the head writers
Liz
for that,
Lemon.
which was interesting because she was also the head writer in the series
Yeah.
as Liz Lemon.
That
you
show
know.
got pretty meta sometimes, which was
Oh
really cool.
yes.
There was a show about a writing staff created by a writing staff.
Right.
You
And
know, and
One of the best ones was when they kept talking about that Samsung phone, and Alec Baldwin was like, "Why am I calling myself?" And he answers, and it's not. It's because he got the woman he was sleeping with. He got her phone,
Yeah.
and he starts talking about, "Oh, these phones are so great. I don't know why everybody doesn't have one of these." And as he's walking out the door, Tina Fey looks at the camera and she goes, "So can we get paid now?"
nice. I remember that there was a little bit with Tracy Morgan, like figuring out that he was in his show. And
Oh
Tracy
yes, when
Morgan
he was off his
played
when he
him.
was off his meds,
Yeah.
and she's like, "He's off his meds," and she's like, "He's gonna get so meta," and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm not even Tracy. I'm Tracy Morgan playing Tracy."
Because of his character on that show, I will forever refer to computers as pornography boxes.
Hell yeah. That's pretty much what cell phones are now.
Yeah.
Portable
Yeah.
pornography boxes.
Yeah.
Don't lie, audience. You know you watch porn
There's
on
that
your
little
phone.
chart that shows, it's like a timeline, and it shows phones getting smaller and smaller until the first smartphone came out, and then there's a little arrow, and it's like the moment we figured out we could watch pornography on cell
And they
phones,
just got
and then
bigger.
they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
They're almost the size of tablets now, people.
They're gonna start
Yeah.
giving them curved screens. They got a portable curve.
Hey.
You didn't even buy a curved TV anymore.
we're way past
Oh,
time, but
oh,
we didn't
sorry.
even get shots.
Yes,
To the wheel.
Uh-oh. To the wheel. Bianca!
Man. But yeah, a lot of funny stuff out
And
there.
she's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, comedians
hope
are
I'll
great.
figure it out fast.
What
I
I
don't get
love
killed.
about comedians is they can talk about stuff that's taboo
Shot.
and still get through it. You know,
Watching you do that is just adorable, Bianca.
Yeah, I
Swear
decided to
God.
bring this
Oh.
up because
pineapple upside down.
I didn't want to talk about the depressing
You-
shit
but
that's
you don't
happened
like
this
that one,
past
though,
week.
right?
Huh?
If you don't like it, you can veto.
All right, all right.
I didn't want to talk about the
You don't
horrible
like
things that I
those.
didn't want to
and
talk
Nick
about.
doesn't like Fireball.
Yeah.
We're, you know,
I
I
have
can
to
take
remove
them
some
out.
things
I
off
can
of
take
there.
them out. I can take them out.
we're
Like
quote at the
how-
will of the wheel, but we can veto shit if we don't want to.
Joker bomb.
Yes.
Yes, we can go joke
All
around.
right.
Sweet. So that's gonna take a little while to prepare.
Oh, right.
But what I don't want to interrupt you, but real quick before I
All
forget,
right, Kanye.
I love that Netflix is doing more and more shit with stand-up comedians. and
Yes.
there's-
Yes.
That's fantastic. I
Yes.
hope they
Like,
keep doing that.
Oh, that
Bill
was
Burr, his last one or two, I think, were Netflix specials.
he has
Yeah.
an
He's even got a
animated
TV
series
show
now,
on there.
though.
Yeah, F is
He's-
for Family.
Aziz's Last Stand
Yes.
special was a Netflix exclusive
And
too.
Yep.
Oh,
And
really?
his show.
And the show, the show.
Shout
But
out to Netflix. Maybe we can get them as a sponsor.
yes. Sponsor us, Netflix.
Netflix.com/last call podcast.
Yeah,
Whatever.
we'll
It's
get to
gonna-
that point.
we'll make it work.
We'll get to that point. But
Make a
another
deal.
one is honorable mention on my side, Craig Ferguson.
Yes.
Very funny guy.
Yes.
Scottish?
Yes,
Scottish,
he's
right?
Scottish.
Yeah.
Well,
Funny
he
dude.
he is now a naturalized American citizen, so he's got the
He has
join
been
or
for
die
years,
tattoo.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's actually hosting a show now on the History Channel
The f-
called
Join or Die.
Join or Die.
Wow.
And it's on like Wednesday nights or something like that.
Wow.
And I've watched it, and
So is he not doing the celebrity name game anymore?
he's still doing Celebrity Name Game. I mean, you got to make
That's
money
around?
somehow.
It
Yeah.
is again because of him. On
But
the
he
CW.
on Celebrity Name
okay,
Game,
that
he
makes
brings in other famous people, and they come in and do shit. You know, it's essentially like what the hell, passphrase or something, where you can't say what the word is, but you got to get the people to guess it, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's a pretty interesting show sometimes, and other times it's like, Craig Ferguson, you're the only one keeping this show on right now because your guest celebrities are just horrible people.
Wait, doesn't he have the Late Show too?
No, he
No,
had
that's
it.
been gone for.
But
a while
James Corden is now the
Oh,
host.
is that who took
James
over it?
Corden.
Okay.
Corden? Yeah.
The
But
chubby
by the
English
way,
guy?
he's
Oh,
funny.
the guy that does the singing with people in the
Yes,
cars.
the
Karaoke-
karaoke
karaoke.
in
Yeah.
cars with the singers and all that.
I have not watched. I've seen his bits with the people in the cars, but I have
Yeah.
not watched his.
That's
show
like his big thing
at
right now.
all.
The karaoke.
that
karaoke
that
with
is
celebrities.
that is the best thing coming out of that show right now.
He's
Easy,
pretty funny. I've
easy.
stayed up a few times to watch him, but
But yeah,
all right.
watching Adele sing Nicki Minaj's Monsterverse was
Yes, when she
That
was
was some
rapping, when
special
she was
shit.
spitting out some raps, man, and she nailed it. Even though she's British and white, she nailed it.
That's why. Actually, have you heard of Daniel Radcliffe on Jimmy Fallon do the
He
alphabet?
did the alphabet aerobics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude! His like accent went away and everything. It was actually really good. I was like,
Yeah.
So I'm
oh,
gonna say
oh,
something.
oh.
I do not like Jimmy Fallon as a comedian. I do not. When he was on SNL,
as a host and comedian, stand-up comedian, no, I don't care for him. either.
right?
I
But-
agree. I agree. I don't think he's funny. I didn't think he was funny on SNL.
Right.
He broke. Everyone else, if anyone else on SNL, for the most part, like broke during a scene, it was funny. But Jimmy Fallon just broke so frequently that it just became unfunny.
Right.
And I didn't really like most of the movies he was in. I think he was in a movie with Queen Latifah where
Taxi.
Taxi.
yeah.
It also had that one supermodel as the head of the bank robbers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Giselle
and it was
Bunsen?
just-
But as,
yeah.
There
as
you-
a host, I'm okay with him. And for whatever reason, he gets a lot of credit from just the hip hop community in general, just because he has the Roots as his house band, which is pretty cool.
It was a great. That was a great choice
Well,
on his
yeah,
part.
but that's
And him and Justin Timberlake are always doing their little rap things, which are always really
right.
fun.
But that's Justin Timberlake being,
Sure.
awesome.
Sure. Yeah, that's more Justin Timberlake than it is Jimmy Fallon for sure.
Right. We're just gonna pass him on.
Cool. Yay.
But yeah, I mean, I when I heard Jimmy Fallon was the host of Tonight Show, it was like, oh man, we're really losing something.
He's one of the very few people in Hollywood
could
that
thank Jay
seem
Leno
to
for that one.
fail upwards.
Right.
Like,
Right.
He just fail upwards.
Yes,
Fail.
that's exactly what he
Fail.
did.
Fail his way to the
upwards.
top.
yeah, that's what I feel like. He didn't do anything substantial to like get.
He's gonna fall
the
up
Tonight
the
Show.
stairs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't say nothing. I know somebody who actually fell up
Whose
stairs.
dick
I-
did Jimmy Fallon have to suck to get that gig?
Jay Leno.
No one,
Maybe.
because Jay Leno was a prick and
Jay Leno was a prick.
forced everything that happened to happen.
Okay.
Bianca,
Right. Yeah, like he
And then-
screwed over Conan.
water, please.
Not just Conan, also David Letterman. at
Oh
one
yeah,
point.
David Letterman was supposed to
Okay.
get
We
the.
got-
Dunk them and then cheers, guys.
All right, yeah, we gotta do this fast so
Yeah.
my shoulder gives out. All right,
Cheers.
cheers everybody.
Cheers.
Joker bombs all the way around.
Cheers, y'all.
Holy smokes, that was delicious.
Amazing.
Anyway, that's going to be it from us tonight, guys. Thank you very much for listening. If you are listening, pass it around.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Yeah.
We're kind of funny sometimes.
Sometimes.
We think so. Anyway, My name is Philip Rocco.
Samantha Sullivan.
Jimmy Salazar.
Nick Stone.
And Paul Adami.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Keys for the mailbox out of the safe, right? And I tossed them like from one hand to the other hand, and I missed. And the keys shot behind my desk. Have you guys ever thrown something to yourself and missed? Because it's pretty fucking depressing.
Yeah.
It just kind of makes you feel bad for a second.
I don't
Reflect
even
on
want
your
to.
life.
I don't even want to comment because I'm scared I'm gonna jinx myself in some way. I mean, I
it
already
makes
hit my shoulder, man. I do not need to be missing tosses to
It
myself.
almost makes you want to reprioritize your life for a second. You just go into the void for a few seconds.
It's
and
like,
you're just
I need to be a little
what
more athletic right
happened?
now.
Like, I'm so uncoordinated that I threw something that was literally less than a foot away from my other hand, and I missed it. And it just ruined my day for a second.
And then I know where that desk is. That must
Yeah.
have been a pain in the ass to get those keys out from under that desk.
So,
It wasn't fun.
so wait, did you just sit in there with the lights off, listening to like Blink 182 and shit
I threw
for
on
the next
Some
hour
Adam
after?
song,
Just
some
in
Adam song
depression?
going on.
Made me sad. It
Maybe
made me
some
very
simple
sad.
plan. Just walk in. Hey Phil, we need some help.
But then,
Can you help
guys,
me?
then
Okay.
we come back.
Glorious
we
return.
come back up because when I checked the mail, the best thing happened ever.
You got the new
and
Maxim
sometimes
issue?
We get some dumb junk mail, and it usually all just gets thrown away. But I'm so glad I actually looked at this before I threw it away, because we have now officially, if there was a contest, these people won. Worst name for a business of all fucking time.
Okay.
Of
Go.
all time.
Go.
They sent me a postcard or something, some advertisement.
He is pulling it out.
But the
Oh,
name
shit.
of this company is Hiscox. Hiscox. It's an insurance company. It's real.
That's what I
Googled
want to
it,
insure.
and it's called Hiscox. And I was just like, okay, we're surrounded by dicks at this bar.
I'm not usually
People don't really
surrounded
know
by
that.
dicks,
I
so
will.
hold on.
I will post a picture when I can to the page, but
Speak for yourself on that one.
No. The
Oh,
neon
God.
dicks.
Yeah.
The neon
Oh,
dicks,
so
not
basically-
the
okay,
men.
okay.
so
I was
basically,
thinking,
the
like,
idea here is that there is a bunch of neon
And this
lights
is-
and the windows here, and they're supposed to be pool pockets, but they all just look like variable length penises with the head cut off.
What happened? What happened, Nick?
No, just as a printer, I'm noticing a defect in it that,
Oh,
that makes
okay.
me like,
I thought you were gonna shut me down right now and just
And
be
then
like,
just-
"This is fake as fuck."
and then just the guys, just the picture on the front, like he's just
Nick
worried
does
about
this
something.
kind of stuff for a living.
God,
It's-
Hiscox.
Hiscox.
And
His cocks. He's got multiple.
there's a plurality of cocks
Apparently
for the one.
It's dildo insurance
His.
or something. I don't know.
and, there's one to rule them all.
I guess.
This is not.
Apparently, there's multiple.
And I was like, okay, maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, but there's no way
No,
that you could pronounce
no,
that
there's-
differently that would make it any
There's
better.
no other way to pronounce that. That is about as
Is it
clear cut as you get. His cocks.
Isn't X like
Clear
silent
cocks.
in French?
His cocks.
I don't know.
His
Isn't
cocks.
X silent in French? His cock.
His qua.
qua.
His
Qua.
qua
His
sounds.
Qua.
That
His
sounds-
That also sounds suggestive.
He called-
Esquire.
He's cock.
And the best part is that there's like little slogans and shit on the back.
No.
And all of them sound terrible, but real. Okay, so, let's see. First of all, they have a passion for service.
Well, I bet they do.
97% customer satisfaction. Only 97 though.
Well, that's much more impressive than I have.
And it says, "Get everything you need and nothing you don't with Hiscox."
Okay, this has got to be a joke.
Hiscox will never
No,
be a
I
sponsor
don't
of this
believe
podcast.
You. Can I? Please, I
I'm
need to
looking
verify
this
this
up
in
on
my
the
own
internet.
eyes for a second.
Oh, see, that's
I will
the problem.
take a picture of that and put it up on,
Yeah.
on the
This-
page.
Wow.
What
That
I'm
could be
looking up
the-
on the internet might not
that
be
could be the
Oh
picture.
man, be careful.
Wow.
Incognito search, my friend.
That could be the cover for the picture for the
Yes.
on YouTube.
What if that's just the name of the podcast this week?
Wow.
Hiscox. No description or anything. People are like, I don't know if I want to click on this.
I actually read that. It's been one of those days.
Oh wow, you okay?
Tailored to fit your field.
Oh.
Tailored to your needs.
Man. And it's addressed to me, but they. Oh, hold on.
Wait, what?
First of all, a lot of businesses spell my name wrong. That's fine.
Based in Chicago.
These people didn't put the second L because I have two L's in my
Yeah.
name. but they added a second P to the end of Philip.
Philippe.
So it's Philipp.
Wow.
Hiscox, PP.
They're all about
Yeah.
the
Just keeps
cost.
going.
It's intentional. I think
So,
this
so
is
it
a
says
ruse.
Philip.
Well, we know it's not Nick
Philip
because
Bracco.
Nick was complaining about the quality of the postcard. So
And his Cox sent this little postcard to Slick Willie's. Something's going on. There's a dick mystery going
yeah.
on.
and I've got a raging clue right now.
Oh no.
It's quite the chain of sausages, my
That
friends.
has clue glue.
Keep it on the level. Keep it on the level.
All right, let's kick it off with
Finally.
sex with alligator shots. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers and queers.
And steers
I guess. I
and
don't know.
beers.
Well, we are in Texas.
Only two things come
Keep
Beers,
going
cheers.
around rhyming words until someone fucks it up.
Peers, mirrors.
Beers.
You just fucked it up, Paul.
I'm out.
You already said beer.
Cheers.
Phil just said beer.
Cheers.
All right.
Tears.
We're done here.
Beers.
Fears.
Terrible bit to start the show with. Anyway. Shit. Let's rock it out. Welcome back, guys, to the Last Call podcast. I'm Philip Rocco. Here with me today, I got Samantha Sullivan,
Jimmy
Salazar,
Salazar.
Nick Stone, and Paul Adami.
Paul Adami, maximum effort.
We got drinks. We got shots. Is that your catchphase now?
I think I'm
Maximum
gonna
effort?
steal that from Deadpool.
You're gonna stick with that one
Yeah,
for a
I
while?
think I'm gonna try for.
Oh,
yeah.
all right.
At least you guys didn't see my loot crate box.
Oh, you have
I
my
need to
soda.
share that on the last call page.
Shout out
I
to
still haven't
Loot
put
Crate.
anything out. Yeah.
Maybe we can get them as a sponsor.
One of these days, please,
Listen,
God.
listen.
Hey, we already picked up Kimberly Freeman.
Hey yo, yes.
Oh, yes,
That was
Kimberly
badass.
Freeman,
That
lead singer
was
of
great.
One-Eyed
Yeah, super
Dolls.
Great
Good on
catch,
that, Nick. Getting in
Yeah.
our first celebrity.
That's
Good
cool. Sam has
job.
no idea what we're talking about. Someone fill her in.
Okay.
Miss Kimberly Freeman of One Eye Doll. So
She was.
she liked the page
Oh, okay.
after I shared one of her things on our page. So
And
all
I
works
was
out.
saying,
Dis-
like,
to
I
discuss
missed
music.
A special guest or something.
Yeah, you did. It was ridiculous.
Well, you know
Tupac
what?
came back.
maybe one
We
day
had
when she's in
hologram
town,
Biggie.
Yeah.
we'll do an all music episode with her.
So
I'm
Nick
down.
Brought up
I'm down.
a fantastic topic that was probably going to take up the bulk of the show. with
Good,
the
because I didn't really bring a topic.
favorite comedians.
Lazy.
We're getting
But
really lazy with that.
Before we get into that, I got two very short stories that I just want to share with the group real quick. I wrote them down in my notebook.
okay.
are they
so I don't
erotic
forget them.
friend fiction?
No, first, I had a thought earlier and it made me sad. If you're listening to this and you don't know who we are, I'm the GM of this bar, and I was doing some stuff earlier, and I had to go check the mail, and I got the key.
God, Jim Gaffigan. I don't know if you guys.
Yes.
Pockets. Yes, his hot
Fucking
pocket.
love Jim Gaffigan.
Or especially the whole thing, that whole bit where he starts going on and on about whatever, and then he's talking about the invention of the bathrobe or whatever, and he had just come off, or he would just come off Hot Pockets or whatever, but leading into it, and he's all, "What about this rope around the waist? Well, you can dunk it in the toilet." And then that was pretty much the same. I think the same line he ended the Hot Pockets bit with too.
Well, he would just start.
Piece of bread filled with nasty.
No,
meat.
a solid
Dunk
favorite
it
of
in the
mine,
toilet.
like from him, is when he explains vacations, where you just go and eat a lot of food in really nice places. Like, you ever just notice you're on vacation? It's like, we should get something to eat before we head out, and then maybe before we go, we need to go, we should just go pick up something to eat. And then when we
Yes.
get there, maybe I'll try something there.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
let's see.
God. Let's see. Then there was Mitch, of course. Bill Burr.
Yes.
Bill
that-
Burr.
Bill Burr is a
King
good one.
of-
Oh man.
He's like the new king of rage, right behind Louis Black, which is my number 5. But
I always
Oh.
think
Louis fucking Black.
I think Bill Burr is always really, really good in whatever, like, because he does a little bit of acting too,
Mhm.
and I think he was in Breaking Bad.
yeah,
And he was funny in that. Like, he didn't have a huge part at all, but
hit a
he's
couple
just
small bits
funny
associated with
I'm-
all the
Saul.
time. Yeah.
But it
I'm
was
going to
great.
say something. It's going to be possibly controversial,
Oh shit.
but to me, Bill Maher is the second generation of Dennis Leary.
I could give him that, but I wasn't too big of a Dennis Leary fan either.
Well, it was more of a time period for me. I was growing up, and I was an adult when Dennis Leary was doing all his stuff. So, like the song
Yeah.
"Asshole" and all that,
Yeah.
you know. I'm
I
an
can definitely see that.
asshole.
They're definitely similar, but I don't remember ever watching anything from Dennis Leary.
Well, yeah.
Not enough to compare.
But that's what I'm
anyway.
saying. It's more of a generational thing,
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm doing this to you, Paul. You're gonna hate me really bad.
Like Demolition Man. That stuff that he did in Demolition Man is essentially his comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do it.
One thing that was a complete shock when I first heard it, Adam Sandler's first comedy album. They're all gonna laugh at you.
Oh, that was a great.
Holy shit, that one is fucking great. There's one where this, like his college roommate, he's playing a guy with a college roommate, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so drunk, man." It's like, is that the beer I gave you? Yeah, that's not alcoholic. Well, I'm really high. Hey, is that the weed I sold you? Yeah, that was just pencil shavings.
all over it.
Anywho, Nick, what did you want to bring? You wanted to bring something up.
I thought a good topic for this week would be everyone's favorite comedians.
Yes.
Stand up or acting.
Hell yes. And why? It was whose birthday was it recently?
Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah.
It would have been his birthday. It would have been his
Rest in
40th
peace,
birthday.
Mitch.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
God.
And he's been one of my favorite comedians.
That's the
since
one with where they brought the donut. to
Yep,
his
with the
camp.
donut. That is him.
You guys just
Oh,
want to
man.
go? Well, you brought it up. If you want to go
in.
first,
I don't care. Whoever. So, anyways, I was talking a little bit with Phil earlier this week. I think Thursday, about bringing this up, and him and I both shared the fact that we had adored Mitch's stand-up.
Yes.
He kind of
Hell yeah.
invented Twitter comedy before there even was a Twitter.
He did, man.
These,
He was
those
the
quick,
king.
short stories and one-liners. He was just the king at it.
King of the one-liners. I agree.
One of my, it's not my favorite, but one of my favorites I was just listening to the other day of his was he would tell the crowd he was a heroin addict in the sense that he liked to have sex with women who saved other people.
So it's kind of like
but
a
anyways.
Dimitri Martin.
Dimitri Martin, I feel,
He's more of a
Uh,
prop comic.
yeah, and
with
he's also
his
like
picture.
when he does the one-liners, and he has little sections of his act, and when he does the one-liners section, it's like it's almost more intellectual than Mitch Hedberg ever tried to be. So like you really got to think about the shit that Dimitri Martin is saying to get it. Sometimes you're just like, wait a second. And then you guys are like, okay, I get it. All right. There you go, Dimitri.
Fuck, I
like
missed the
Dimitri
last
too.
four now.
But anyways,
Great.
like George Carlin, it just
Great
Oh,
man.
yes.
That's my
That-
number one all-time favorite ever comedian.
Yes.
His comedy is it went beyond comedy. He used comedy to
get
kinda,
very valid points across.
yeah, get valid points across and to put his philosophy out there.
I
and
think
his
I think
view
that is the mark
world.
of a great comedian when they can deliver a message, but make you enjoy it the entire time. It's not feeling heavy-handed when they come at you with the
Right.
message.
He never got preachy, but he always got his point across immediately.
Right.
It was just like, this is how I feel about this. If you don't like it, you shouldn't be at this show because you should know what I'm about at this point. But he never got like stood up on a soapbox like real preachy about whatever he was talking about. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.